Alright class, welcome back to Programming with Queen. In today's video, we are jumping right into relationships in Maringo Sports Club system. Now remember, this knowledge, you can apply it in so many tables, so many access databases. So make sure you stick around until the end to learn interesting techniques. Now to start with, I've prepared 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tables. These are not all the tables that you require in Maringo Sports Club system, but I've chosen this so that I can work with them today. Now, to start with, I have club members, which I'm going to open for you to see. I have a few records in here. I can go to design view so that you can see what is happening. This is everything that is here. We can close that off. Move on to damaged equipment. That is everything that you require in this table. Now you might have realized that I don't have a primary key in member ID, and this is because if, for example, I have two bad guys, let me say if I have one bad guy who will be messing up stuff in the field of play, let's say he has damaged two equipments. If I insert a primary key here, that means that guy cannot appear twice in this table. This ID is actually going to be a foreign key so that that guy can appear several times. Suppose he messes up and he has to pay, or that group has to pay. Either way, I hope that is very much understood. And this ID is not actually going to be of this data type auto field. I know most of you know that ID is always auto number. That is not the case here. That is because we can actually do a lookup. Let's go there and change the data type to a lookup wizard. Say OK to that. Choose the club members table because this table contains every individual in the club. So choose the club members, click OK, and choose the name. Click next. I'm sorry about that. It's supposed to hit here. Click next, next, next again, and finish. After that, you're going to be prompted to save the table and hit save. Some data may be lost, that is okay. And you hit next. And now if you come to this point, you'll realize that the ID is not an ID anymore. It is actually the name who that ID belongs to. Now if you come to, this is Jalet, if you come to club members and look up the ID number 1, it's actually that name. Close the club's members, come back here. Now this is not making sense anymore. We have members ID and it is not an ID. So we can come here, highlight the member ID and change that, add a caption, just make it member and hit OK. Now if you come back, you must save. If you come back, you'll actually see it is saying member, not member ID anymore. Now that's just a teaser. What I'm about to show you is this. Relationships in Access is a must because Access is a relational database. Therefore, you must have a relationship between the tables to actually create a database that is going to work for any maybe government or organization or any school, or to save any data. Maybe, for example, in a supermarket, to do the work, you must relate the tables in there. So if I can, let me change to, so I prepare this slide so that I can show you the relationship between the tables. Now we have three types of relationships. Number 1, we have one-to-many relationship, which is very common in MS Access and very many softwares which are relation database based. An example of one-to-many relationship can be one customer having very many orders. Another example related to this topic can be one club member having messed up very many times. Therefore, that table will be having an individual related to so many sports items that that person has destroyed. Another type we have is many-to-many relationship, which in my case might require a third table to actually hold. Many-to-many relationship example include very many products having very many orders, right? I hope I make sense there. Another example that we have, which is not very common, is a one-to-one relationship. An example of this can be one department with only one manager. I'm going to close the damaged equipment and I don't have to show you the rest of the tables. Let us head straight to database tools under relationship, and you can see I have several tables here and one relation between the club members table and the damaged equipment. Now this relationship is due to the lookup that we did earlier. If I click on it and delete it, we'll see that nothing will happen in this column. The reference between the damaged equipment and the club members table is due to this relationship that we have here. Now, right now, as you can see, we don't actually have anything showing which type of relationship these tables are sharing. Now, if we click on the line that is connecting the two, we can actually right-click and edit the relationship. If we do that, we'll see that we have the club members on one side and the damaged equipment on the other side, and they're related by the ID column. Now, one thing that you can do, you can come down here and see it is a one-to-many relationship. And one thing that I like to do is to enforce referential integrity. You learn what that means in just a bit. If you enforce referential integrity and also check the cascade update related fields and click OK. Now I'm getting an error that the database engine could not lock table damaged equipment because it is already in use. Now we can easily do away with this by just closing this table off just like that, and then we will try again. Edit the relationship, enforce referential integrity, cascade update related fields, and just hit OK. As you have realized, it adds a one simple on the left of the club members table and an infinity sign just below the damaged equipment right hand side. This simply means this is one member can damage so many equipments, right? I hope I make sense there. Now, why don't we go ahead and create other relationship? Let me add the games record here, the item purchased, sports item, and sports offered. These are the tables that we have here so far. Let me move this up. The main table will come down a bit. Now, one thing I like about tables, for you to design them, you actually have to sit down with a pen and a paper. Sorry about that. Again. Design your tables with a pen and a paper smartly so that you don't mess up in future. Now, I have item purchased, sports item, The sports items are the things that are in the store, maybe football balls or chess equipments or boots for playing rugby, such stuff. Those are the items that are available for sale in the club store. Now, the items which have been purchased are related to the sports items table. Now, if you think about it, we should have a one-to-many relationship here because the sports item will only contain one element with a single ID and no two ID should be the same. On the other hand, item purchased, one item can be purchased so very many times, and therefore we can have an item ID related to item ID in the purchase, just like that. And the way you create a relationship, you just click once on the ID column, drag and drop it on the other tables field where you want the relationship to occur, and you simply let go. Just like before, I'm going to enforce referential integrity and cascade update related fields and hit create. Again, we're having an error. The relationship must be on the same number of fields with the same data type. This is another problem that is going to occur every time you are having two different data types, but you are trying to have them contain a relation. Now, one thing I can do about this is to go back to the item purchased table, go to design view and see the data type here. It is short text. I can also go to sports item, go to design view and see that the ID is actually auto number. Now, this is going to be a problem because in the sports item, if you are adding a new stock, maybe for example, you're introducing a new game, the club is introducing a new game, and we are adding new equipment to the store, you don't have to manually type in the ID of that item. The database will do that for you. Now, the item ID here is actually very correct. That is just wonderful. Now, coming to item purchased, we cannot have item ID have auto number because we are trying to get the ID from the sports item table. Now, one thing I can do is just to change this to number and see whether that is going to work. I'll hit Control Save. Some data may be lost. That is okay. I'll just hit yes. Go back and see whether we have lost any data. I can see we have not lost any data. So let me go back to the relationship and try to create that relationship once again. I'll click on the item ID on the sports item, drag all the way to item purchased ID column and drop enforce referential integrity and cascade update related fields and hit create. Again, sorry about this, but the database engine could not load because it is already in use. We've gone through this, so let me just close. You know the process, you close, yeah, and try again now. Let me do it quicker. Blah 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 blah. Create and perfect. Now we have a one-to-many relationship here as well. Now if we go back to see what these tables have done for us, we can come here to sports and you can see we have a plus sign on the left hand side of this ribbon. If we click on it, we will see that again this is the sports items table. Now if we click there with the ID of number 1, if we click there, we can actually see that member with the ID of 18 has purchased this item and the stock level now is 99. I think I'm making sense. He purchased the item at $1,000, so he was never given any discount. If we close this and open, let me see, maybe this guy. Also, the member of ID number 1 also purchased it at 50,000 on date 1. That is, this is just for test purpose. Stock level reduced to 99 and he got a discount of 40 after the discount, so he ended up paying 47,500. So that is just that. Now we go ahead and create a new relationship here. Let me see. We have the games record and the sports offered. Again, that is automatically going to ring a bell. We have the sports ID. Sports, remember this table is just holding the sports that the club is offering, all the sports that the club is offering. So we cannot have two same IDs. We cannot have two sports with one ID. But here games, one game can be played several times, so that is a one-to-many relationship here as well. So we hit the sports ID and drag all the way to the, let me see, game ID. Okay, I thought you could have this problem again. So let me just go and see where the problem is. I'll go to the sports which are offered here and also see the game records. So the game records are saying that the game ID is this one and the type is short text. That is where we have the problem. So I can simply change this to number and hit Control Save. Some data may be lost, that is okay. Just hit yes and go back. And if I see the sports offered, I can see that this is just auto number. This is okay. Now we can actually close this before we get the other error. Come back and try to do the same. And create, and that is working just fine. Okay, now we have the items which have been purchased. That table is related to this one. We have the damaged equipment. Let me see, can it be related to the item purchased? No, it cannot be related. We have the games record. Remember, in the games record we have the patron. So the patron is obviously a member of the club, and all members of the club are related to the club members table. So if that patron is a member of the club, then the member ID here must correspond to the ID of the patron. So we can actually have a one-to-many relationship here. Let me hit there, scroll all the way to the patron ID and drop it there, and do this before we get the errors that we've seen so far. Okay, we are having the same problem. I don't know why. Maybe I did not do my thing well. Let me just go back and check the patron's ID. So game record, design view, patron ID is a short text, so I'll just change that to number. Hit Control Save. We've encountered this several times now, so we are used to them. Close and try again. Don't be afraid of getting errors in Access. The easiest way to learn is to go through the mistakes, know the mistakes that can happen on the way, research on the internet what particular messages mean, and you'll always find an answer. And if you don't, you can always work it out. If you're having troubles, that means people before you or some of your friends have also encountered the same problem, and maybe they've figured out ways to go through that challenge that you're having, and they will help you. Don't be afraid of getting error messages and giving up. Just try your best. Now we are remaining with two tables here. Remember, in this access, all the tables must be related to each other so that we can have a relational database. I mean, you must connect all the dots. Now here, let us see how can we connect all these tables to these two. I mean, they cannot just be on their own just like that. It is not normal. We have to connect all the dots. We see the sports item. Okay. Now, if you take a look at the items purchased table and you take a look at the club's members table, you realize that for you to buy from the store of the club, you must actually be a member of the club, because the items purchased table requires you to provide the member ID. If you have a member ID, that means you belong to the club. So we should connect the dots from the member ID from the club's members all the way to item purchased in the item purchase table. Now just click on the member ID and drag all the way to member ID in the item purchased table and drop it. Enforce referential integrity and cascade update related fields and just create. Now if you take a look at this relationship, it actually makes sense. Let me just rearrange it for you so that you can actually see what is happening all together. Now all these tables are related to each other. If you have a query that is supposed to fetch maybe the club and your name, maybe for example your name, the item that you purchased, and maybe the amount, it is going to pick all that from each of the tables that you have. Or if you want the name of the person and maybe the game that if this member is a patron, maybe he's a patron for a specific game, you check the ID, the game that he was in charge of, and maybe the sport, something like that. So you can pick from each table some data that you may require for a specific function. Now if you close, you have to save this, or if you close before saving, it will prompt you to save. Just save and close. Now if we open each of this table, for example this the game records, let me just open the sports item. This is one we opened earlier. You have this plus sign over here. Now let me open the sports which are offered. For example, hockey. When you enforce the integrity, referential integrity, that means you're going to get all this functionality. If it is this game hockey, the ID of 2, you can actually see who the patron or how many times a person has been a patron. In this case, this guy has been a patron twice, and he got a facilitation fee of 500, and he got a commission of 100 after 500. 10% of 500 is just 100, so he got 100 as a commission. If you take a look at games which were never played, that means the games which I actually did not provide any information on, you have zeros everywhere. Now this is a very important way for you to create your tables and make them do whatever that you want easier and more fun, just to make your tables look more interesting for this Maringo Sports Club system. Now I hope I was very fluent and maybe you are able to follow along. But if you have any questions, or maybe you have not understood any particular place, you should reach out. Just leave a comment below in the comment section and I'll be able to read through. I read all the comments, so just leave a comment there and I will see what I can do to help you with your system. Remember, this this system is supposed to be designed uniquely to how you want it to be, how you want it to feel, how you want the end user of your system to, how easy it is for that person to understand, go through your database, and simply you don't have to go train this person. I know this is for examination purpose, but suppose you're out there creating real life databases, how easy are clients able to employ you, create for them a database that is not going to require somebody to train users to use that database. I'll appreciate so much if you leave a comment and also subscribe to the channel so that we can move on together, grow this YouTube channel and be a community. I'll appreciate so much. So until next time, I'll be creating more videos on this topic. If you have any question or any specific question that you want me to go through before we proceed on, please feel free to leave your comment in the comment section. Until next time, bye bye.